The Lunar Palace nightclub pulsed with life, sweat, perfume, and the throb of bass vibrating through every body. The crowd moved as one, lost in the music and flashing blue lights. Tonight, a famous DJ played, drawing a packed, excited crowd. Akari, near the back, tried to reach the bar, laughing as she squeezed through the dense mass. The heat and energy were overwhelming, but familiar. This was the club at its peak, crowded, loud, and alive. But then a subtle shift, a ripple of unease, passed through the room. Near a side stage, a few people began to push, their urgency out of place. The music drowned out the first cries for help. Most people kept dancing, oblivious to the change. The pressure in the crowd began to build, almost imperceptibly. The beat went on, the lights flashed, but something was wrong. A small disturbance was growing, hidden beneath the surface. The club, once a sanctuary of escape, was about to become a trap. No one realized how quickly joy could turn to danger. The first tremor had come, a warning no one heard. In moments, the night would change forever. The energy that united the crowd was about to betray them. The Lunar Palace was on the edge of disaster, and no one saw it coming. The silence after the pulse would be deafening. For now, the music masked the danger. The crowd danced on, unaware. The countdown to tragedy had begun. On paper, the Lunar Palace was safe. Certified for 450 people, based on outdated fire codes. The law assumed people would spread out evenly, but crowds cluster at the bar, on the dance floor, near the restrooms. The floor plan showed open spaces, but reality was bottlenecks and dense pockets. That night, nearly 300 people packed a space meant for far fewer. Hallways to exits were nearly empty, while key areas were dangerously crowded. The official capacity number was misleading. Real danger came from crowd density in popular spots. Imagine a river forced through a narrow canyon. The pressure builds, just like in the club. The building's design, with its grand staircase and poorly placed exits, prioritized style over safety. Exits were inconvenient and hard to reach in a rush. The floor plan was a map of choke points and dead ends. The paper promise of safety ignored how people actually behave. The club's real risk was hidden in plain sight. The official numbers gave a false sense of security. The system was built on assumptions, not reality. That night, the paper promise would be shattered. The crowd's behavior, not the building's size, determined safety. The tragedy was set by a number that never matched the truth. The promise was about to break. The music at the Lunar Palace was overwhelming. Bass you could feel in your bones. It created a world apart, where shouts and warnings vanished beneath the sound. The DJ, lost in his mix, saw only movement, not panic. The lighting, strobing, blinding, and thick with smoke, made it impossible to see trouble. People were isolated in bubbles of noise and darkness, unable to sense the growing danger. Cries for help were swallowed by the beat. Panic spread invisibly, hidden by the chaos of light and sound. By the time people realized something was wrong, it was too late. The crowd was already moving as a single desperate force. Communication had failed. The very things that made the club exciting now made it deadly. Sensory overload turned confusion into catastrophe. The club's design for fun became a trap. It started with a stumble near the side stage, a minor incident in a less crowded room. But here, there was no space to fall or recover. People behind, unaware, kept pushing forward, tripping over those already down. Panic spread instantly, turning the crowd into a single, terrified organism. The urge to escape took over. People pushed, not out of malice, but fear. Individual control vanished. Everyone was swept by the human wave. The crowd became a fluid, shockwaves knocking people off their feet. Surges pushed hundreds toward the exits all at once. The main entrance, with its narrow staircase, became a bottleneck. Side exits, poorly marked and unfamiliar, were ignored. The rush for a single exit created chaos and crushing pressure. Desperation grew as air thinned and bodies pressed tighter. The escape route became a trap. The wave of panic, born from a small fall, became a tsunami. The club's design offered no relief. The crowd's instinct to survive only made things worse. The tragedy unfolded in minutes. The exits were now walls. A crowd crush isn't about running, it's about physics. At 6 or 7 people per square meter, movement stops. The crowd acts like a liquid under pressure. Small pushes from the back combine into a powerful, unstoppable force. People become like marbles in a tube. Pressure transfers, and those at the front are pinned. The force can bend steel and break walls. The main exit, a narrow inward opening door, became a deadly nozzle. The crowd's pressure held the doors shut. Even outward opening doors would have jammed from the crush. The real killer is compressive asphyxia. People can't breathe, even standing up. The design flaws made disaster inevitable. The bodies themselves formed a plug, blocking escape. The laws of physics turned panic into tragedy. Too much force, too little space. The club's exits were never meant for a real emergency. The crowd's energy, once joyful, became lethal. The outcome was brutally simple. The Lunar Palace passed every inspection, on paper. Fire marshals checked extinguishers, lights, and exit signs, but not crowd dynamics. Inspections relied on outdated laws and visual guesses, not real data. Occupancy was enforced by staff feeling when it was full. The law focused on fire, not crowd management. Exit rules ignored inward opening doors and complex layouts. Staff weren't trained for crowd emergencies. The system created a false sense of security for owners and patrons alike. Everyone followed the rules, but the rules were flawed. The real danger was never addressed. The safety net was full of holes. The tragedy grew in the gap between law and reality. The illusion of safety cost lives. After the tragedy, change was demanded. A commission of experts rewrote the rules, replacing guesswork with science. Capacity was now measured by real-time sensors, not square footage. Density limits were set for each zone, with alarms for dangerous crowding. All exit doors had to open outward, with panic bars and brighter lower exit signs. Music systems were linked to alarms. Emergencies cut the sound and broadcast evacuation messages. Staff received mandatory crowd management training. Inspections became frequent and unannounced, focused on crowd flow. Penalties for violations were severe. The illusion of safety was gone. Vigilance became the new standard. The blueprint for public spaces was rewritten in the language of loss. The system now protected people, not just paperwork. Every safety rule is a scar from tragedy. Outward opening doors, crowd counters, and music cutoffs are promises not to forget. These aren't just rules, they're shields forged in loss. Today, you're protected by lessons learned the hard way. You may not notice the signs or sensors, but they're there for you. Trust in safety is built on vigilance and memory. The blueprint of every public space carries these lessons. It's easy to forget the risks in a crowd, but safety is no accident. It's the result of design, vigilance, and learning from mistakes. Each generation must carry these lessons forward. Cutting corners dishonors the lost and invites disaster. The true memorial is every safe crowd, every calm evacuation. Your safety is a shared responsibility, built on the weight of hard-won lessons.